everyone, welcome back to another Animal Crossing New Horizons video. So in today's video, as you can see, we're doing something a little bit different and we're going to be doing a building video. So I've done a couple of things like this in Pocket Camp, but I've never built anything really with you guys in New Horizons. And I know you guys wanted me to do the random generator thing in New Horizons, which I think I'm definitely going to do. Just yesterday I was talking to some of my friends about the Roost in Animal Crossing and how much I miss it, and discussing whether it will be added in this autumn update. I know a lot of people are hoping for that, and so I was trying to imagine how the Roost will actually look in New Horizons, and I thought, why don't I just make it? So today we're actually going to be building the Roost in New Horizons, and I'm just going to say now that I don't have as much furniture as I would like to build this. I know for sure there's going to be items that I definitely could have used that would have been more ideal. I don't have as much furniture as a lot of people do because I don't use Nookazon and I don't trade with friends that often, so we're just going to be trying to build the Roost of whatever I have. Hopefully it will come out good and hopefully you guys will like it. So I guess with that said, why don't we head in and start building? So as you can see, I decided to build this in the back room. I was going to build it in the middle room, then I realised there was doorways everywhere, so the Roost really doesn't have that many doorways. It only has the one that you walk into, so I realised I probably should build it in the back room or one of the bigger rooms like the upstairs, but I wasn't really sure which one to go with. I ended up just going with this basic size room because I didn't want the room to be too big and the Roost feels very small and cozy, so I decided a small square room would be best. So the main thing I wanted to build first was the little counter that Brewster serves you coffee at, and I wasn't sure which counters to go with at first because I have many options to recreate those counters with different sorts of tables. I was going to use the wooden chest, and I could have used like a desk or something, but I ended up going for this lecture hall desk because if you put a lot of these together it looks just like the counter almost from the Roost. Oh, I should probably say that we're actually basing this off of the New Leaf Roost, not the one from City Folk and Wild World. Wild World is my favourite game, but I just think the Roost was a lot more expanded in New Leaf, and I imagine that in New Horizons they're going to go for more of that New Leaf sort of vibes. Yeah, I ended up going for the New Leaf design. It's basically the same anyway. You have the classic counter with Brewster there, the classic red stools, and the classic little table for you and your friends to sit at. But actually, I realised while I was building this that I didn't have any red stools, and I was so upset about that because I know for sure there's red stools in the game, but I just don't have them. So I ended up going with velvet stools. They kind of look red. I was debating whether to use a wooden stool and customize it to be red, but I just thought the velvet stools ended up looking a lot better. So in the end I go for those. I was debating whether to put a drink machine in here, but I decided not to because in the Roost, if you look really closely, Brewster has like a tiny mini fridge in the background, but I decided not to go with that. I put this big shelf behind the counter because if you didn't know, Brewster has like a big shelf that he collects gyroids in because he's a massive fan of gyroids. Unfortunately, we don't have gyroids in the game yet, but I imagine if they're adding Brewster to the game, they'll also be adding gyroids because he loves them so much and he likes to collect them, and I think it would be more fun to collect them in New Horizons if you have more of a purpose to, whether that's a gyroid exhibit in the museum or whether it's just Brewster collecting them like in old games. I would really like there to be more of a reason to collect them. As you can see at the moment, I was struggling with which table to choose, and there wasn't really the exact table. I didn't have like a long table that I would like, but I needed a wooden one. I didn't have one other than a coffee table, so I ended up using two tables because the image I was using, if I zoomed in, it kind of looked like there were just two tiny tables together. So it actually ended up turning out really nice. I used two ironwood tables and I used the antique chair to go with them, and they actually matched really well and look really cozy. As you can see, one of the main things I put in here is a stereo because in the Roost is where KK Slider used to perform. I think Brewster's a big fan of music. There's always this really lovely relaxing music playing in the background in the Roost, so I really wanted to be able to create those vibes in the room. Even if you guys can't hear the music that's actually playing in the room, I can hear it, and I really wanted KK Bossa to be playing because I feel like KK Bossa has the same sort of vibes as the actual music that plays in the Roost. Roost. So I'm also putting down an espresso machine and a little pitcher, which I imagine is full of pigeon milk, because sometimes Brewster will offer you pigeon milk in your coffee. It sounds so weird. And also there's that really cute thing on Valentine's Day where he'll make you a hot chocolate instead of a coffee to surprise you, and I just think that's so cute. I'm really excited to see how the Roost will be expanded in New Horizons. They haven't confirmed it or anything like that, and they haven't shown Brewster at all or hinted at him. The only character we've seen in the upcoming updates is Jack, which would just be insane if he wasn't added for Halloween. I think there would be a riot, so I'm glad Jack is coming. I am interested to see if Brewster's coming, and if he's coming, how is his cafe gonna work this time? I think for sure it's going to be inside the museum, and I have a feeling we might get a gyroid exhibit as well. I'd also really love to see Brewster and Lloyd interact because, like I explained earlier, Brewster's a massive fan of gyroids. So I imagine he really likes Lloyd, and I would really like to see them interact. I just think that would be really funny and cute. I'm also super excited to see Blathers and Brewster interact because if you didn't know, they're best friends. I just think they're like the cutest couple ever. I just imagine they're a couple and I love them so much. I just think they're so sweet. I just can't wait to see them interact. I hope they interact anyway. And I'd also love if you get to hear more about the characters. Maybe the Roost can be a place where you'll find the NPCs in there sometimes and they can tell you a bit about their backstory and their life, because in Wild World they would tell you about their life and in City Folk they would as well, but in this game they haven't really given us any cutscenes to explain the characters' backstory, so new players to the game don't know anything about these characters, and I just think this would be a great opportunity to introduce those backstories for new players who don't even know these stories. So as you can see as well, I'm putting a Blathers poster in there because, like I said, I imagine that Brewster and Blathers are like the cutest couple, and I really think that Brewster loves Blathers so much, so I've put a little poster there of him so he can always be reminded of him. And I'm just decorating the place now with plants and things like that. I put autographs on the wall because I imagine a lot of musicians come here, like KK Slider for example. Oh, this place just feels so cozy. I actually really loved how this turned out. I put a little welcome sign next to the menu so it feels like super welcoming and happy, and I just think the Roost will be such a lovely addition to the game because it will give us something to do in multiplayer. I know it's only tiny, but I've said it in previous videos, but getting coffee in Animal Crossing is so essential to the game. It's so essential to the message of the game in my opinion. I said it in one of my previous videos, but the Roost has no purpose at all. Getting coffee in Animal Crossing doesn't give you a boost in how fast you walk. It doesn't do anything for you in the game. It's literally just you go there and drink coffee and you'll say something about the coffee like, wow, this tastes amazing, and then you go on with your day. So I'm sure a lot of new players are like, why were you so desperate to have this in the game if it's pointless? It's just like the core message of Animal Crossing. It gives you 5 minutes to just relax and take a moment to just think about things and just take things slow, and I think that Brewster really is just like one of the characters that really brings across the core message of Animal Crossing and taking things slow and relaxing and just appreciating the small things like getting a cup of coffee. And so without him in the game, it really has felt so different. I didn't realise how much of a small thing like the Roost just not being in the game would affect how I feel about the game. It honestly has affected how I feel about the game so much. Without Brewster, it just doesn't feel right. In every single Animal Crossing title he's been there, and without him I'm just so shocked. I can't believe we have Harvey before we have Brewster. I honestly don't understand what that is about, but I guess, I don't know, whatever's they worked on that's finished first, they'll release first. I'm really excited to see what Brewster's going to look like. I'm really excited to see what the Roost is going to look like and if it will have any more features, because in New Leaf they added the feature to have a part-time job at the Roost, and that was one of my favourite things ever. So basically you could go to the Roost and ask Brewster if you could work there part-time, and then different characters would come in, so you'd have 3 of your villagers come in and order a coffee, and you would have to guess like what sort of coffee they want by their personality and things like that. And every single villager has a specific coffee order that they like, so you would have to try to remember it, and if you get it right, obviously they'll be really happy, and if you get it wrong, they'll be like, this doesn't taste right and stuff like that. There would also be a special character every time that comes in to see you, like Phyllis or KK Slider, Tom Nook, or anyone like that would also come in to order some coffee, and you'd have to remember their order as well. And it was such a fun thing to do. You would also unlock like the cafe uniform. There was Brewster gyroids you could collect, which was so cool, and you would get little coffee beans. And again, the coffee beans didn't have much purpose, but if we were to have this feature again in New Horizons and he was to give us coffee beans, it would be so cool if we could use the coffee coffee beans for crafting furniture, like coffee themed furniture or the Roost themed furniture, or to craft Brewster gyroids or anything like that. I think that would be so fun. There's so many things like that they could do with the Roost that I'm really excited to see. I wonder if they'll even introduce any new characters, like maybe some of Brewster's relatives or something like that. For some reason I always imagined that Brewster has like a younger niece that really loves tea, because Brewster's so obsessed with coffee and she would be like obsessed with tea and you could order tea from her. That's just a random thing that I think about though, just the same as me shipping Brewster and Blathers together. I don't think many people ship them together, but that's just the thing I've always had in my head since I was little. I've always thought that they were a couple, and yeah, I really enjoyed decorating this. If this is something you feel like doing, you should definitely try recreate it yourself as well, because this was really fun for me to do. I'd really love to know if there's any other things you'd like to see me recreate, like maybe I could try create the post office or something like that. If there's anything specific you guys would like to see me build like this, please do let me know in the comments, because this was super fun and I think it makes a really interesting video as well. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see I've invited some villagers over. So this is what the Roost looks like. This is how it came out. As you can see, we've got Fang who's ordering right now, and we have the Brewster design back there. Since we don't have real Brewster, I'll try link the code for this Brewster design in the description below for any of you that want to use this on your island. We also have Ruby and Melba here on a coffee date, and Blathers is here sleeping away, bless him. He's so cute. So over here I've put a little chair for us to sit at next to the music. We have a KK Cafe poster on the wall and a welcome sign in front of the menu, and as you can see Blathers is here sleeping since it's the middle of the day. I just imagine he comes here in the afternoon to get a coffee just to keep him awake, since, you know, he's always falling asleep, bless him. We have this plant next to it, because there's always a plant next to these stalls for some reason in the games. It looks super cozy. We have the little espresso maker and some sugar and milk there, and of course the Blathers poster on the wall like I told you about earlier. And here we have Brewster, who's made out of a t-shirt design. I absolutely love this design. We also have a coffee grinder and some milk behind there. I did put an espresso machine at some point, but then I got rid of it because Brewster always says his coffee's made of only the best beans. I feel like he would just make all his coffee himself and grind his beans himself. So we also have a fax machine, which is my replacement for a till because I don't have a till. We also have some plants and this gold Happy Home award, which I like to imagine is just like a coffee shop award he's got. We have all these autographs from musicians like I told you about earlier, a lovely little clock and some embroidery on the wall. We also have this fireplace. So usually in the games we have like a bookshelf here or like a stack of magazines, but I thought maybe in this game they could replace it with something like a fireplace that keeps the room really cozy and warm. Of course I've made sure to put some more plants here, and Ruby and Melba are just chilling here at the table. This is where you and your friends can sit when they come over for multiplayer. So there's 4 chairs, but I wonder what they're going to do in the new Roost, because you can play with like 8 characters, right? So they might have to make the Roost massively expanded. So over here we have the microphone and a cherry lamp. This is where I imagine KK Slider would perform, since he used to perform in the Roost in old games. I wouldn't specifically say there'd be a cherry lamp here, but I'd like to think that they'd put something that's specific to your island, like maybe something to do with your airport colour or your town fruit or something like that. I think that would be really nice if they include something that's unique like that. We also have this owl figurine over here because I imagine that this is in the museum, and like I said, Brewster and Blathers are best friends. So we also have some beautiful paintings and more plants, and this is just how it turned out. I think it's so cozy in here. You guys have to let me know what you think. Obviously I did the best of what I have. I'm sure some of you guys could do it a lot better with much more furniture and things like that, but this is how it turned out. I think it looks so cozy, especially from this angle. It feels like something from New Leaf and from Wild World, and it's so cozy in here. I absolutely love how this turned out. I can just imagine sitting in here and getting coffee from Brewster, and I can't wait to see what the actual Roost is going to end up looking like. So that's all for today, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what you thought of my design of the Roost in the comments below. Did you think it turned out good? I'd also love to hear what your thoughts are on things they could do with the Roost if it comes in the next update or a future update. I think it definitely will come in a future update, but yeah, I'd really love to hear what your ideas are for ways they could improve it. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please do leave a like and subscribe, only if you want to though. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you on my next video. Bye!